The champagne flute trembled in my hand as I stood in my in-laws' living room, watching them plan their dream anniversary cruise. Brochures covered the coffee table, the Mediterranean voyage they'd been talking about for 20 years, finally within reach. The Deluxe Suite has a private balcony, my mother-in-law, Patricia, gushed to her daughter Rebecca. Can you imagine? Watching the sunset over Santorini with the whole family. Speaking of family, my father-in-law, George, turned to me with that smile I'd learned to recognize, the one that meant something unpleasant was coming. Victoria, we need to discuss the cruise arrangements. I set down my glass carefully. After 8 years of marriage to their son Daniel, I knew that tone. What about them? Well, Patricia picked up seamlessly, like they'd rehearsed this, it's our 40th anniversary. A milestone. And we've decided it should be family only. I understand, I said. Daniel and I will. No, dear, George interrupted. You misunderstand. Family only means blood family. No outsiders. The word hit like a slap. Outsider. After 8 years of marriage, 2 miscarriages they never acknowledged, and countless family dinners where I'd been treated like the help. I see, I managed. So Daniel goes, but I stay home? Don't be dramatic, Rebecca chimed in, examining her manicure. It's not personal. You're just, not really a Harrison. Daniel walked in from the kitchen just in time to hear his sister's words. What's going on? We're explaining to Victoria about the cruise, Patricia said smoothly. How it's for family only. I watched my husband's face, waiting for him to defend me. Instead, he shrugged. It's their anniversary, Vic. Their choice, their choice. Like I was a +1 to a wedding, not his wife. Of course, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. Your celebration, your rules. George looked pleased, like I'd finally learned my place. Knew you'd understand. Besides, someone needs to watch the house while we're gone. You wouldn't mind, would you? Not at all, I replied, already pulling out my phone. In fact, let me help with something right now. They watched as I scrolled through my contacts. Patricia preened, probably thinking I was going to offer to house sit properly, maybe water her orchids. Oceania Cruises, VIP desk? Yes, this is Victoria Harrison. Account number 447829. I kept my voice pleasant, professional. I need to discuss the Mediterranean dream booking for next month. George frowned. What are you doing? I held up a finger. Yes, that's correct. The booking for 8 people. The one with the $25,000 deposit. I'd like to cancel it, please. The room went silent except for the customer service representative's voice confirming the cancellation. What? Patricia's voice came out as a squeak. You can't. Actually, I can, I said, still on the phone. Yes, please process the full cancellation. Credit back to the card on file. Perfect. Thank you so much. I hung up and smiled at their shocked faces. That was our cruise. George roared, his face turning an alarming shade of red. No, I corrected. That was my cruise. Paid for with my credit card. From my marketing firm's bonus last year. You know, the job you always call playing on computers? But we planned everything, Patricia stammered. The whole family was going. The whole family minus one outsider, I reminded her. So now the whole family can stay home together. Won't that be nice? Rebecca jumped up. This is insane. Daniel, control your wife. Daniel stood frozen, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Vic, you paid for the cruise? Every penny, I confirmed. Did you think your parents suddenly had $25,000 lying around? Your dad's been retired for 5 years, and your mom spends her pension on QVC. I booked it 6 months ago as their anniversary gift. Surprise, you vindictive little, George started. Careful, I warned. Vindictive outsiders might also mention the family reunion in Vegas I paid for. Or Rebecca's destination wedding in Cabo. Or the down payment on Daniel's sister Amy's house. You didn't pay for Amy's house, Patricia protested weakly. Check with Amy, I suggested. Ask her where the mysterious $50,000 savings came from. While you're at it, ask her why she needed it. Something about credit card debt from funding her husband's failed business? Daniel sank onto the couch. How much? How much have you spent on my family, over the years? I pretended to think. Between the vacations, the emergencies, the loans that were never repaid, the gifts for events I was barely welcome at, about $200,000. The collective gasp was satisfying. But you never said anything, Rebecca whispered. Because I thought that's what family did, I said. Silly me. I thought 8 years of generosity might earn me a seat at the table. Or at least on the anniversary cruise I paid for. We'll pay you back, George said stiffly. I laughed. Actually laughed. With what? Your Social Security? Patricia's jewelry she had to sell last year when you couldn't make the mortgage? Oh yes, I know about that too. Who do you think covered the difference? Daniel knew? Patricia turned on her son. You let your wife pay our mortgage? I didn't know. Daniel protested. Vic, why didn't you tell me? Because every time I tried to discuss family finances, you said it wasn't my place. Remember? That's between me and my parents, Vic. Don't interfere with family matters, Vic. You wouldn't understand our dynamic, Vic. I stood up, gathering my purse. Well, now I'm officially not interfering. Your parents need a new anniversary plan? Not my problem. Rebecca needs money for her next scheme? Not my problem. Amy needs another bailout? Definitely not my problem. You can't just cut us off. Rebecca shrieked. I'm not cutting you off, I said calmly. I'm accepting my place as an outsider. Outsiders don't pay for family vacations. They don't cover family debts. They don't sacrifice their savings for people who treat them like unwelcome guests. This is about more than money, Patricia said coldly. You've never fit in. You don't understand our traditions, our way of life. Your tradition of taking my money while treating me like dirt? I interrupted. You're right. I don't understand it. And I'm done trying to. I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, Daniel? I'll be at the Ritz tonight. The honeymoon suite. Already paid for, so I might as well use it. You can join me when you decide whether you're married to me or to your family's bank account. Vic, wait. No, I said firmly. I've waited 8 years for you to defend me. To tell them I'm not an outsider. To act like I'm your wife instead of your ATM. I'm done waiting. If you leave now, George threatened, you're never welcome in this house again. Promise? I asked. Because that sounds like the best anniversary gift you could give me. I walked out, ignoring the shouting behind me. My phone started buzzing immediately. Daniel, then Patricia, then Rebecca, then Amy from 3 states away. Word traveled fast in the Harrison family when the money tap turned off. I ignored them all and called my lawyer instead. Margaret, it's Victoria. Remember that postnuptial agreement we discussed? I think it's time to draft it. Yes, full financial separation. And Margaret? Make sure it includes a clause about family gifts requiring both spouses' written consent. By the time I reached the Ritz, my phone had 47 missed calls. I turned it off and checked in, using the corporate card from my company, the successful marketing firm I'd built while the Harrisons called me a hobby entrepreneur. The honeymoon suite was gorgeous, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a bathroom bigger than Patricia's beloved orchid room, champagne chilling in a silver bucket. I poured myself a glass and stepped onto the balcony. My phone, powered back on for business emails, immediately exploded with texts. Amy, is it true you paid my down payment? Mom says you're lying. Rebecca, this is theft. We'll sue. George, no granddaughter of mine would behave this way. That last one made me laugh. Granddaughter? I wasn't even a daughter-in-law to them. Then, finally, Daniel, I'm in the lobby. Can we talk? I considered it. 8 years of marriage, 2 lost babies he'd grieved with me, even if his family hadn't. The man who'd promised to love and cherish me, but forgot the part about forsaking all others when others meant his family. Room 2012. I texted back. He arrived looking haggard, still in the same clothes from dinner. Vic, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. Which part? I asked, not moving from the balcony. That they treated me like an outsider? Or that I was bankrolling their lifestyle while they did it? Both, he admitted, sinking into a chair. Mom's crying, Dad's threatening to disown me. Rebecca's calling every lawyer in town. And Amy called to say thank you, he said quietly. She's been carrying the guilt for 2 years, thinking mom and dad had sacrificed their savings for her. She had no idea it was you. At least someone appreciates it. I appreciate it, Daniel said. I never saw it. They're my parents. I thought their little digs were just personality conflicts. Daniel, your mother introduced me at your company party last month as Daniel's wife. The one who does computer things. I'm the CMO of a company with 50 employees. He winced. I know. Do you? Because when she said it, you laughed. I was uncomfortable. You were complicit. I corrected. Every time you stayed silent, you agreed with them. I wasn't family. I was just the woman you happened to marry. The outsider who inexplicably kept paying for everything. What do you want me to do? He asked desperately. Cut them off? Never speak to them again? I want you to choose. I said simply. Either I'm your family, your primary family, or I'm not. Either we're a unit that makes decisions together, or we're not. Either you defend me like a husband should, or you don't. But I'm done living in this middle ground where I'm family when the bills come due but an outsider the rest of the time. They're my parents, he said weakly. And I'm your wife, the one who held your hand through your appendectomy, who supported you when you changed careers, who paid for your parents' dream cruise while they called me an outsider. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Then, can I see the receipts? What? The receipts. For everything you've paid for. I want to see them. I pulled out my phone and opened the folder I'd been keeping, because of course I kept records. I'm a businesswoman, after all. I handed it to him and watched his face pale as he scrolled. 213,000, he whispered, in 8 years, plus the cruise they just lost. They told me they were doing better financially. They said Dad's investments had paid off. He looked up at me, and for the first time in years, I saw him actually seeing me. You never said anything. I tried. You didn't want to hear it. No, he admitted. I didn't. We sat in silence, the city lights twinkling below us. Finally, Daniel stood up. I need to go talk to them, he said. My heart sank. Of course, back to mommy and daddy. But first, he continued, I need to know if you'll consider couples counseling, and a financial advisor, and maybe a therapist just for me to figure out why I've been such a blind idiot. I blinked. What? You're right. About all of it. I've been a terrible husband. I let them treat you like an outsider while you were the only one actually acting like family. Real family doesn't keep score or demand gratitude. They just help, like you've been doing. Daniel, I'm going to tell them that until they apologize, really apologize. Not just because they want your money, they won't be seeing either of us. And if they can't accept you as family, then I guess I'll be an outsider too. I stared at him. You'd do that? I should have done it 8 years ago, he said. The question is, will you give me a chance to do it now? I thought about it. 8 years of frustration and hurt, but also 8 years of love, laughter, shared dreams. The man who'd held me through miscarriages, who'd celebrated my business successes, who'd made me laugh even on my worst days. Counseling, I said finally, and a postnuptial agreement, and your parents don't get another penny from me unless it's a genuine gift that we both agree on. Deal, he said immediately. Can I stay tonight? Or should I get my own room? I poured a second glass of champagne and handed it to him. Stay, but you're calling your parents first. On speaker, he winced but pulled out his phone. George answered on the first ring. Daniel, did you talk sense into her? We need to rebook that cruise before. Dad, Daniel interrupted. I need you to listen very carefully. Victoria is my wife, my family. If you can't treat her with the respect she deserves, the respect she's more than earned, then you won't be seeing either of us. The silence was deafening. You're choosing her over us? Patricia's voice, shrill in the background. I'm choosing my marriage, Daniel corrected, the way I should have from the beginning. Victoria has been more family to you than I have. She's the one who made sure you kept your house, Dad. She's the one who saved Amy from bankruptcy, Mom, and you called her an outsider. That money was from you, George protested. No, Dad, it wasn't. I make good money, but not that good. Every gift from us? That was Victoria. Every vacation? Victoria. Every bailout? Victoria. And you couldn't even include her in your anniversary cruise. We'll pay her back, Patricia said weakly. I don't want your money, I called out. I want an apology, a real one. And I want to be treated like what I am, your son's wife, your daughter-in-law, family, or what? George blustered. Or nothing, I said simply. Daniel and I will live our lives, and you'll live yours, separately, your choice. I nodded to Daniel, who ended the call. That was terrifying, he said. That was overdue, I corrected. We spent the night talking, really talking, for the first time in years, about money, about family, about boundaries, about the children we still hoped to have and how we'd never let them treat their spouses the way I'd been treated. The next morning, my phone had dozens of messages. I ignored most of them, but one stood out. Amy, Victoria, I just wanted to say thank you, not just for the money, but for finally standing up to them. Maybe now things can change. You've always been my favorite sister-in-law. Actually, you've been my only real sister. I smiled and showed it to Daniel. She's right, he said. You've been the best part of this family. I'm sorry it took losing a cruise for me to defend that. Better late than never, I said. So what now? He asked. Do we wait for them to apologize? We live our lives, I said, together, as a family, and if they want to be part of that, they know the price of admission. Respect? It's a lot cheaper than a cruise, I pointed out. 3 weeks later, Patricia called, not to apologize, but to complain that their mortgage payment was due and their usual help wasn't available. I'm sorry to hear that, I said pleasantly. Have you considered a financial advisor? I hear they're very helpful for outsiders. She hung up on me. But 2 months after that, a different call came. George, sounding older and tired. Victoria? We owe you an apology, a real one. Could we take you and Daniel to dinner? Our treat. And I mean actually our treat, not yours. It was a start. Not a fairy tale ending where everyone suddenly becomes perfect, but a start, and for the first time in 8 years, I wasn't paying for it. The cruise? I rebought it 6 months later, for Daniel and me, a second honeymoon where I was actually wanted, actually welcome, actually family. We sent the Harrisons a postcard from Santorini. Wish you were here, it said, but only if you really meant it, because that's what family does, they mean it. And after 8 years of meaning it alone, I finally had a partner who meant it too. The view from our private balcony was spectacular, but not as spectacular as hearing Daniel tell the couple at the next table, "This is my wife, Victoria. She's the best thing that ever happened to our family." Our family, 2 words that made a $25,000 cruise worth every penny. Even if I was the only one paying for it. This time, by choice. Retry. Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.